Welcome back to flameflash.net, episode 34. Welcome to the first episode of 2012. Possibly, if the Mayans are to be considered, the final year of the planet. However, if they were overly accurate, why aren't they still here? My random thought on that. But we'll get to the Raptr report. I'm Flameflash, by the way. The Raptr report comes from Raptr.com, R-A-P-T-R, unique spelling there. And I occasionally spam my Flameflash Twitter feed with gameplay updates or trophies, new achievements. That's one of the added features of the Raptr community. And no, it's not technically spam. A once a day post I don't really consider spam. But most played this week, Sonic Generations to start off. It's true what they say about giving a gift that you would enjoy to someone else being the best gift of all. And I probably butchered the cliche, but the point is still the same. It's a great game. So having gifted this to the 3-year-old youngling was perfect. Absolutely perfect. He loves it. And as I mentioned, I think last week, it's a very good, strong Sonic. That's what it is. That's all it is. Which is why it's so much better than some of the predecessors that have come before it. I mean, seriously? Sonic Unleashed? He put that in, actually, today I believe it was, and I don't think he enjoyed it as much as he's been enjoying Sonic Generations. Cars from the 360 also shows up on the Raptr report. He is also to blame for that one. Sonic Generations, I got to actually play myself. I almost had my third S rating on a course, but the little guy wanted his game back, so there went the S rating. Oh well. So Cars 360 shows up on the Raptr report this time around. But moving on, we have Batman Arkham Asylum. Yes, I know I'm getting to the game late, but it's a good game. I'm not quite sure what I think of the camera angles sometimes, especially walking through those really tight corridors. I wish the camera would be more floating up behind Batman instead of hanging out slightly behind him and looking over his shoulder. The camera's a little bit awkward in that regard. Beautiful game, absolutely gorgeous. Not very far in, only played an hour. Got a couple of trophies in that time. I'm playing on the PS3, the Game of the Year edition. Walmart at the time had a pre-packaged deal where you could get both Arkham City and Arkham Asylum as one, so it's, 2 games for the price of one. Seemed perfect for me. But I like it. I'll go back to it. I don't feel it's child appropriate. The T rating almost seems too low. Not for any gratuitous anything, just the emotional undertone intensity. This is not a game to sit down and relax with, unfortunately. It's a game to get involved with, to watch a heart-throbbing movie with. Which unfortunately does mean that I won't be able to play it as often as, say, I might like to, just because sometimes I sit down just to relax. Dungeon Defenders, though, next one that shows up. This one I think is going to be making a return appearance rather often. just because the oldest son absolutely loves it. Completely and totally in love with it. He right now is playing the apprentice character. There are 4 different character classes. Apprentice is kind of the mage. We have a huntress, hunter. They shoot arrows and deal with setting traps. Sounds like World of Warcraft. Then we also have the monk, and he has aura-based abilities, aura-based traps. This is, of course, as I've mentioned last week, a fairly standard tower defense game, if you want to summarize it. But it's more than that, because it's a dungeon brawler, too. I just dropped my notebook. There we go. But it's a dungeon brawler, too. So you're in there, you're setting up your defenses, and you're going. Charging forth. The baby decided to add that it's not a very comfortable game for Daddy to be holding and playing at the same time. But it does show up on the Raptr report. I have been playing it. And it's a good one even for, say, the little 3-year-old to join in. And he's on a team with his siblings. He's not putting down any traps. He's the little squire knight character. So we've just been, as he's been gaining experience, pumping up his attack and his health. Just so that he can survive, he can do damage, he can be satisfied with the game. Marvel Ultimate Alliance shows up again on the 360 and is just due to the little guy liking his superhero fix. Mario Kart 7, though, is amazing. I talked about it last week, so I won't yammer too much more about it. But it racked up 3 hours in this last week. 3 hours for a 3DS game. I think the 3DS is here to stay. And stay hard. So, for the last month, that's 7 hours total at this point. For a kart racer. 150cc is near impossible, too. It's almost the bad challenging, because everybody's going so much faster and you feel like you're not. Like you're in a completely different cart. So that is one negative to the 150cc, but I'm still going to be going after the gold. It's a shame that, unlike, say, the original, you can't team up and do a local multiplayer and go for first place and gold with, say, some assistance. I remember in Super Mario Kart, my cousin and I would sit down and we'd tag team those people in third and fourth, etc. behind us. And that's how we beat 150cc on the Super Nintendo. We partnered up. We teamed up. The Wii was the first version, I think, console-wise, to not allow that to happen. And it's been really disappointing. I think that's one reason why it hasn't been picked back up to re-unlock everything after the great Wii reset of prior to the podcast starting up. But Mario Kart 3DS, Mario Kart 7 for the 3DS is absolutely amazing. If you have a 3DS, this is a game to get. If you enjoy Mario Kart, it might just be a good reason to buy a 3DS. Last but not least, World of Warcraft. Darkmoon Faire started back up. Winter Veil is over, but Darkmoon Faire is back in full swing this week. So be sure to go in and grab your +5 to any of those lingering +5 skill points, any of those lingering professions. It's wonderful. If you have no interest in everything else that the Darkmoon Faire has to offer, it at least can offer you 5 free skill points. Just have to invest a little time, sometimes a few coppers, maybe a gold. But if you're near the peak of your trade skill of Cataclysm, and you're just a few points short, Darkmoon Faire is going to be a much cheaper alternative to wasting mats. No, they're probably not going to go to waste if you're going to use the stuff, but unless you have an army of alts larger than mine, some stuff is still probably going to go to waste. My paladin, for instance, is currently doing blacksmithing. She's in Fell Iron in the Outlands, and that +5 just pushed her over the mark, so now she can start making the chest plate, for instance. And before, she was making repeat, same pieces. I have 1 sent off to my daughter's Death Knight, who is the same level. I have 1 sent off to my warrior, who is in his 20s, so it's just going to be sitting and rotting in the bank for who knows how long. I have another piece, of course, for my paladin, but that's only 3 pieces. Yes, there are multiple different parts to make, so we're looking at maybe 6 pieces total. But now there's that gap of 4 more points. So Darkmoon Faire helped her out quite a bit at that time. So thank you, Darkmoon Faire. Now, we're still early into the new year. People are starting to wake up. Games aren't really coming out yet. News is kind of still slow. But we have heard that Vita, over in Japan, you know, the PlayStation Vita, sales are starting to kind of run flat. Personally, I blame the memory card situation. The memory card situation and the PlayStation Network login situation. I haven't mentioned that before on the show, but what is rumored right now is that you get 1 PlayStation login per memory card. So now you have to buy 2 overpriced memory cards if you want to share the system with a family, and each individual of the family rack up their own trophy count. Now here, that would not be an issue because we all use daddies, and Daddy quite appreciates it. But not all families are that way, or it's a husband and wife and they want to keep their trophies separate so they can see each other's progress and compete with each other playfully a little bit. You're going to have to buy 2 overpriced cards. Amazon just the other day mocked the entire thing by sending me a promotional, you know, one of those spam marketing emails. A high-speed SD card, 32 gig. The original price was somewhere on near 100. Slashed. Just because they can. And probably because it's been in inventory for so long that now they're starting to lose money by just holding it. But the price is slashed. Why couldn't Sony have gone with high-speed SD, said these are the specs that you need to use and look for when you buy your SD cards? You can buy SD cards straight from us. Here we have our own brand set. Even Nintendo stamped Wii on some SD cards and packaged them and put them in the video game section instead of the video game accessories section instead of the camera section of the store. How difficult is that, Sony? Come on. Alright. So, still on video games, the 3DS has supposedly hit 4 million in console sales now. It makes me proud to be an ambassador. A lot of you out there, start carrying them with you so that I can get plenty of street passes. Thank you very much. A slightly amusing story. You know how I absolutely love the extra animations, extra emotes. You can hear the jokes when you do a /silly, for instance, in World of Warcraft. Well, in Star Wars, you could do a /get down and start dancing. Well, it just so happened that, oops, something not caught. Originally is you could start dancing and become immune to damage out in the world. So there you'd be getting down and dancing with that, I don't know, Jawa. Angry Jawa trying to steal your droid, I suppose. Nope. Can't kill me. I'm invincible. Haha. It's been fixed now, but it's just one of those growing pain funny things to remember and think about if you're playing the game. It's been fixed, so no worries. Now, in Walmart the other day, or last week, my daughter saw an ad for Lego for girls. So I assume the blocks are pink, the characters look a little bit more Polly Pocket doll-like. No, not the old classic Polly Pocket, the current Polly Pocket that can't actually fit into your pocket. But I remember this. I remember this from my childhood. And it failed! I don't understand why Lego would be going back and trying this again. You know why it failed? Because they already make Legos for girls. They're called Legos. If a girl has interest in Legos, it's not going to be made by being pink. It's going to be made by being a compelling toy for her. I remember being highly impressed, for instance, when a second cousin, I can't really, you know, once it gets past the direct cousins, it's always so difficult to understand how you're related to people. But the daughter of my mother's cousin, so however that works out, love Legos, would actually take them apart totally, had them perfectly organized in these tackle boxes by color, sometimes by shape a little bit, have the instruction manuals to put them all together, neatly tucked away, and she'd build. Sometimes her own creation, sometimes she'd recreate something that from the many sets that she had. None of those were pink. None of those were themed in any kind of girly, quote-unquote, way. They were just Legos. And she liked them. If my daughter was more interested in Legos, she would play with them. But she's not. So, yes, maybe being pink is going to slightly interest her for a short time, but once she realizes they're Legos again, she's not going to be interested. Lego. Though I think you folks dropped a ball for not picking up any of these video game franchises like Mega Bloks has done. I'm highly curious to see these World of Warcraft Mega Bloks. So, kind of staying in the same electronics realm, I suppose, Forbes has a very impressive article about why Best Buy is slowly sucking. Or sucks. And pardon the language if you're offended by that term. But I go in there to get a hands-on experience with something. I don't go in there to purchase anything. Why? The article said it so well. One piece that made me chuckle to myself was the fact that an overeager sales clerk came up to them and started quizzing them and asking them about things and not being helpful. I remember the last time I was in there, I was looking for headsets, gaming headsets. I was in the right area. I was looking at the product. And the guy comes over and, hey, what are you looking for? Gaming headsets. You know, the ones right in front of me. I didn't say that last part, but why stop and harass a customer who is clearly reading the boxes? That's one reason why I didn't buy anything. Oh well. It's not Amazon's fault. It's not anybody else's fault that supposedly Best Buy is slowly starting to lose business and lose money. It's their own darn fault. If I go in and I'm looking at video games, and if I'm reading the boxes, I don't want to be talked to. I want to be having a chance to read. Oh, well, that's a good choice. Why, thank you. Did I ask your opinion? No. Ugh. Now, ironically, the time before that, when I was actually going in to find something and couldn't find it, there wasn't a sales rep around for me to ask for help in locating it. So, I don't know what they're doing. I really don't. Oh well. A final salute and a large wish of good luck, Miss. This has been floating around on the interwebs. ABC News has it. A teen mother who on New Year's defended her home. She did what she had to do, and she killed the intruder. This happened outside Oklahoma City, and I wish you luck, miss. I'm just thankful that you had those weapons in hand, and as your child grows up, that you are sure to lock them up so they aren't able to get at them. It's good to have weapons in the home if it makes you feel safer, but if they don't, well, then don't have them. In your case, it worked out quite well, and I wish you luck. But I am Flame Flash of flameflash.net, at FlameFlash on Twitter, FlameFlash on the PlayStation Network, FlameFlash82 on Xbox Live, which, oddly, I haven't felt driven to sign into. You can find my alts list. I'm on Zangermarsh of World of Warcraft on FlameFlash.net. And If you're watching this or listening elsewhere, I'm on Ustream on Wednesday evenings. Feel free to stop by the chat room or write in podcast at flameflash.net. Also, a very public thank you to Raptr.com. I've been posting this on the forums as well. Just links to the YouTube or audio podcasts. But you can even stop by and respond to me there if you want, because I get an instant email notification of anybody responding to those threads. And thanks for stopping by. Happy New Year, and we'll see you next week.